I hope that you don't mind that I'm talking about this synth here again. I know I've done it before, but I felt it was time to do a follow-up review. So I've had the original Minilogue for about 4 years now, and with the stiff competition out there at the moment, there's a lot of new synths in the kind of affordable price bracket. I felt it was time to do a proper follow-up review and talk about whether or not the original Minilogue is still relevant. And I will do this by answering a couple of questions. First up, is this still a good beginner synth for anybody looking to get into synthesis, learning sound design, using hardware synths in their music setup? Is it still a good beginner synth considering all the competition out there? Secondly, does it offer something unique in terms of workflow and design? Question number 3, does it produce a sound that is unique in some way? And number 4 is, what other alternatives are there out there to the original Minilogue? What other synths kind of compete in the same price bracket? And my personal history with the original Minilogue is that it was one of the first synths that I picked up when I started this YouTube channel. I've used it in a lot of songs actually. It's one of those synths I come back to over and over again. I've also produced 2 sound packs. So one is called Shadow and Light, and I also have a new one. So if you haven't checked that one out, I'll leave a link in the description. 100 new sounds, and I'll play you some demos in today's video as well. So is the original Minilogue still a good beginner synth? Well, it's obviously the same synth, but there's a lot more competition. And when I was recommending the Minilogue to beginners, it was basically because of the workflow. As you can see here, knob per function, very hands-on, super easy to tweak it, to create sounds on it. Really good for learning synthesis. But it's not the most versatile synth out there, and there's plenty of alternatives that has a more wide sound palette that can do a wider range of sounds. So basically, while it's still the same synth, it's not the same good deal as it was when it came out. Primarily because there is now the Minilogue XD, which is the same great workflow, same great design, but it's just way more versatile. And the reason why a Minilogue XD is much better for a beginner is because you don't just have the analog engine. You have the digital oscillator, you can load your custom oscillators, there's a much better effects section, you can load custom effects, so there's a lot more going on. And it just makes it a lot easier for a beginner to create a wide range of sounds. It's a much more versatile synth, whereas the original becomes more of a specialist, if you will. So the original Minilogue has gone from a great beginner choice to being surpassed by its younger brother, the Minilogue XD. If you want a full comparison between the Minilogue and the Minilogue XD, I have one. I'll link it down below so you can go and watch it, where I go over all the major changes and differences between these two synthesizers. So does the original Minilogue offer something unique in terms of design, in terms of workflow? And I would say, hell yes, absolutely. It's really, I think it's an amazingly fun synth to program. So let me show you here. So let's start by changing the waveform, changing the shape of the waveform, adding the second oscillator, pitching it up 1 octave, changing the envelope, to the menu. There's only a few things hiding under the menu. It's actually very, very accessible. We're gonna add some portamento. Let's do some more. Now we're gonna add some LFO here to shape. And we can set the envelope generator here to affect the intensity of the LFO. And let's do some EG to filter. Some resonance. and some pitch EG intensity. So that's controlled using the EG, the envelope generator. And we can change the fine tuning. Add some cross mod. Which just works really well with the shape modulation that we have going on here, so it's just very lovely. And we can of course use ring mod. This was nice. So it's that simple, and then we can add the delay on top. Yeah, the workflow is very unique, I think. So I just think that this is a remarkably well-designed synthesizer. And I love the way that the envelope generator interacts with LFO and the pitch here, the pitch control. And you can really create some lovely pitch modulated sounds, like this here, for example. Does the original Minilogue sound unique? Well, I'll leave that to you to judge first by playing some sounds from my new Minilogue sound pack. Personally, I think it has a beautiful, kind of metallic, clangy tone to it. It's a bit harsh, and you have to rein it in. It's a sound I personally return to over and over again, not because it's impressive, but because it stands out, because it has a unique tonality to it, a unique sound, if you will. And as with most analog synthesizers, especially if they don't have onboard effects, you really have to pair it with a good effects unit to get the most out of it. It won't sound as good as a digital synth straight out of the the synth unless you add external effects. So this is the black hole from Eventide that I recently reviewed. I think it suits the Minilogue really well. So here's one of my presets with the black hole. And I should also note that the Minilogue here has different voice modes. So poly lets you do chords, whereas duo and unison are for different unison type sounds. And we have a mono mode, a chord mode, a delay mode, arpeggiator, and sidechain. Personally, I mostly use poly and mono. Mono lets you add bass. And I personally don't find the unison duo modes all that beautiful. I think there are better synth for big unison sounds, but they work. For example, the Novation Peak comes to mind as a synth that does unison sounds a lot better than the original Minilogue, but for poly and mono patches, I think it's really terrific. So what are some good alternatives to the original Minilogue? Well, I'm gonna list a few, not necessarily because they're exactly the same or even similar, but rather because I think they're good alternatives that you should consider before going out and buying the original Minilogue. First off, you should of course check out the Minilogue XD. If you haven't seen my comparison, I'll link it down below. It's just very similar to what the original Minilogue offers, but more versatile. Then we have the Arturia Microfreak. It's a quite versatile, small, kind of portable synthesizer. It doesn't sound similar to the Minilogue, but it's fun, hands-on, quite versatile, and very affordable. Then we have the Yamaha Reface CS. Now this is the synth you should get if you want something even more simple than the original Minilogue, but maybe with a little more diversity to the style of sounds you can make. It's a digital synth, battery powered, portable, really nice build quality actually for its size, and sounds pretty good. And then we have the Korg Wavestate, which is in no way similar to the original Minilogue, but it could be an interesting alternative to check out if you want something with a lot more versatility. This is a synthesizer that can do piano sounds, string sounds, big pads, leads, bass. It can do everything, but it's not analog and it's not as hands-on as the original Minilogue. It's just not as beginner-friendly, I'd say. And then we have the latest offering from Modal Electronics, which is their Cobalt 8 synthesizer. Now this is a digital synthesizer, but it's also very hands-on, just like the original Minilogue. It can produce a wide range of sounds. It has a really nice keyboard, really nice build quality, but a sound that is slightly different from the original Minilogue, but also unique in its own way. So here's a little demo of that. So let me know in the comment section what you think about the original Minilogue. Does it still hold up? Is it still relevant? Leave your comment down below. I'm happy to read it. It's very interesting. I hope we can have a conversation down there if this is the synth you should buy, or if there's other alternatives that you think are relevant for somebody picking up their first synth today, or somebody wanting to expand their synth arsenal. So let me know in the comment section and let us all know. And I hope you have a great day. Talk to you later.